what's really important nowadays is for an engineering company, aerospace company, to be able to surround themselves with experts, right? When you're a small team, for example, let's say it's a startup, you have to pick and choose who you hire, when, and how. And so I think that one of the strengths that we have at Fastway is we bring decades of experience of designing avionics, EOIR, and electronics. I'll say electronics adjacent, right? So structures, fluids, cooling, and a lot of the multi-physics that we have around these EOIR assemblies, and we can bring that to the table to our customers, right? Whether it's services, training, or software. LSAS is sort of the other half of that coin, right? So you have to be modeling your mission. You have to be preparing for the environment and mapping that environment. And I know some of the companies that we talk to, they want to bring it in-house, and it's just like trying to design something from scratch. That's fine, but what I think a lot of companies, younger companies, need is help with the experience. LSAS has so much experience, right? Josh, decades of experience in the industry is example, not only in the tool set, right? Not only in sort of the STK, ODTK software that's in the DME portfolio, but just mission experience in the industry. And so, I'm super excited for this partnership because the LSAS team and the Fastway team can work together to help companies. You need help in many cases, not only at the mission level, but down at the signal and the trace level as well. So I for one am super, super excited about this. We've got some events coming up this year that we're going to work together so that we can get in front of our customers and provide a dual sort of value. I don't know, Josh, what you think about it.
Yeah, I'm super excited as well. And I think you make a great point, right? A lot of the small companies that are trying to keep everything in-house but they still need to grow. And they have a very innovative idea. Specifically, there's a lot of these in the space world right now. And they have some great ideas. And, you wouldn't go write a word processor if you were going to write a paper about something, right? Your expertise is in writing that paper and writing that new story, that new white paper, whatever. So relying on Fastway and LSAS to give you the tools to solve those problems is very exciting, and it's extremely empowering for these small companies because we have small business partnerships. People can get started with this, and between our two companies, we can get you started, get you going in the right way. The other thing is these tools that we support and train on and are experts in is these are tools that solve so many problems at once, right? Like everybody that's gone through engineering school has written code that is like an orbit propagator if you are aerospace, or solves some of the stuff that you've done. And that's a very specific problem that you've done. So these small companies, sometimes when they set out, they're like, well, we can solve all this in-house. And that's true. And maybe it works for their first few customers. But then as they grow and they're like, well, we need to expand, and all these things that we didn't think of that we now have to account for in our systems, right? That's a hard place to be in. So developing from scratch can be a challenge once you start to grow, and relying on the expertise of people that have done it across broad areas of technology, they solve all the problems that you don't even know you have yet. Yeah. And you can grow into these spaces. Like I'll give you an example of a systems toolkit, right? So there's a lot of different coordinate systems of how you keep track of where spacecraft are. And when you see these big programs, they have requirements for maybe 4 or 5 different ways of the data going in, being in these different coordinate systems. Well, SDK was designed outside of a program. And so it worked with those 4 or 5 coordinate systems, but it also worked with every other coordinate system, right? So it sounds simple, but it's not. And keeping track of all that stuff, that's kind of the promise of using tools that Fastway and LSAS support. Is they're designed to solve every problem. And as these small engineering companies grow, there's all these areas where they might not have the experts that they need to grow into that area. And that's where our team is here to support. And that's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, it's like you don't know what you don't know. And why that's such a big deal now, right? Is it's not just 5 big primes going after big contracts and that's it. right? We've got a very healthy aerospace and defense market. When I say healthy, I mean we've got small and medium-sized enterprises that are entering the market, right? With SBIR and STTR grants, for example. So,
Hmm.
there's a lot of opportunity. If you're listening right now, if you're watching this and you're like, I have an idea for a nanosat and I want to launch it, you can. I mean, we have the mechanisms in the marketplace to get you the resources you need, some of which are publicly available, like potentially funds, right, through grants, through DoD or NASA, and others are through partnerships like ours. So, yeah.